Yeah.
Let's talk about the big news that happened this week that was like the shortest video ever that made the biggest mark on Giants' thoughts on the offseason right now. And that's the Hard Knocks trailer. Oh, yes, the Hard Knocks trailer got released.
The Hard Knocks life.
For us. It's been a hard knock life being a Giant fan the last couple of years, at least the last decade or so.
Yeah, I was going to say a decade.
But yeah, I mean, the Hard Knocks trailer, I mean, there's a couple of things that are really big on that there. The first one that everybody can't stop talking about is the fact they get a little snippet of Saquon Barkley. And Joe Schoen's on the phone and appears to be talking to Saquon Barkley and says, "Can you give us your word on that, or are you not going to give us a chance?" And, you know, Ryan Dunleavy of the New York Post, and this is a direct quote he gave, he said, "My reporting is NYG never made Barkley an offer all offseason, and that call happened before any offers came in from the Eagles." Again, it's a trailer. It's a small snippet. We don't know. But if you really want to know what the Giants think of Barkley post him signing with the Philadelphia Eagles, guys, this is where you're going to find out. Because if the Giants think highly of him, they're not going to publicly embarrass him. And what I mean by that, I know it's a TV show. We're like, oh, well, a TV show is going to do it. No, the Giants had approval for final cut in this, guys. And I don't mean the trailer. I mean the whole show. So they really don't want to embarrass Saquon. They're not going to go ahead and put that kind of stuff out there if that's the case. Now, if they feel like Saquon, because he did a lot of talk in this offseason, if they feel like he gave something that wasn't the full truth, made them seem less interested than they actually were, then yeah, they're gonna do a little damage control in the process, guys. That's gonna happen. And you can't blame them at that point there. They want to kind of set the record straight, and they got videos to do it. So at the same point, you got to wonder, especially for a nationally shown recorded TV show, that for a phone call like that, Saquon had to have given permission to be on a recorded conversation like that, I would imagine.
You would imagine.
I don't know. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I just play one on TV. It's a very nice show. Suits. No, I'm kidding. I wish I was on Suits. It's a cool show. But yeah, I mean, I would imagine that he's required to give them permission to do that. And I can't imagine he would be dumb enough to do stuff when he cares about his image so much that he knows will come out later on.
Unless it was like right in his contract somewhere, if they get,
yeah,
which could have been like with that extension, it could have been like, hey, listen, your audio might be used. One of those fine print lines might be used if we get on Hard Knocks or this and that.
I think they already knew about Hard Knocks when they did that. I think it just wasn't announced yet. I mean, I have to imagine that he knew. And I have to imagine that this is probably something to spice up interest overall in the show coming up. And that's what their job is. Let's be honest. You cut a trailer not to give a synopsis, but to intrigue people to watch that might not otherwise. We were going to watch anyways, but we are intrigued. We are intrigued now.
Demi Moore.
Yes. Demi Moore? What? Demi Moore's going to be the show?
Yes.
Striptease 2, starring the New York Giants. G.I. Jane. Gotta be careful about
G.I. Jones.
Gotta be careful about G.I. Jane jokes. Next thing you know, Will Smith's coming down to slap me.
Yeah.
Now they also
G.I. Jane out of your mouth.
They also talked briefly about the Brian Burns thought process as well. The quote from Joe Schoen was, "What about?" Oh, no, sorry. This was this was Shane talking to Daboll, and he said, "What about Brian Burns? Have you looked at Brian Burns? We would have to trade like 2 twos, and then you'd have to pay him $28 to $29 million." That's what he said. It's very interesting because the money was 100% correct, basically. Where I mean, if they could take out the bonuses and all, that's basically where it was. But the Giants gave away a second, a fifth, and then swapped fifth rounders with the Panthers. So if you're a Panthers fan, after the Panthers turned down multiple first-round picks in past offers for him, including the famous one with the Rams a couple years ago, you got to be pissed right now. Like, that's not a good look for Dan Morgan, their GM. You know, that really can't be. And it's funny, so this is the second episode in a row we talked about Dan Morgan. Obviously, there was rumor about him getting in front of the Giants at that point and taking Jonathan Brooks. I wonder if that's a little slap. Like you got Jonathan Brooks, that bastard. We're going to put him in the Hard Knocks trailer. Oh, what's that? we would give up all the farm for this guy, but we're going to give them peanuts. And they'll take the peanuts. Here you go. Little peanut here, little peanut there. I mean, that's basically what they did. I mean, that's not giving up a lot for the guy. Now, granted, you had to pay him. That kind of brought down his value because you weren't going to get the cheap years out of him anymore. But they thought they'd have to give up 2 second-round picks, and they didn't. I mean, a fifth-round swap is nothing. That means absolutely nothing. That's like a throw-in. Like, oh, I want more. Oh, I'll do this to shut up and take this. That's the kind of conversation you have. Excellent. But like to give up a second and a fifth when you thought you're going to give up a 2 seconds, like that's a steal, man. That's a steal. I kind of hope they go more in the conversation of how that deal went down, how the negotiations went. Because I'm kind of curious, what did Joe Schoen first offer him? I'll give you a second-round pick. Oh, okay. You got me into it. Here's a fifth
second and sixth.
Here's a fifth rounder as well. Throw it in. What the hell? Let's throw in a swap just to sweeten the deal. Take the damn offer while you got it.
I'll give you a Happy Meal toy.
I will throw in free pens that I stole from the bank.
That's not fries.
They didn't put them all on just string. Like I said, I'm kind of curious how that goes. The biggest shock that I think I had in the whole scenario, and it's funny that they're like, I saw some people reporting in the voiceover. No, the voiceover, yes, it was a voiceover at the beginning of the trailer, but the voice was clearly Joe Schoen. If you didn't know it was Joe Schoen, you need to stop covering the Giants. And he's on the phone, and he says, we should stay and pick, right? This is Atlanta. Talk to the rest of the guys in the draft room. So this definitely seems to imply, at the very least, if not kind of flat out say it, but again, you see a little clip, I'm not going to say 100% what's going on, that the Falcons were interested in moving down from 8 to number 6. So that opens up a whole can of questions here. Was it for Penix? Were they paranoid the Giants were going to take him? Or did they want Neighbors? Because everybody kind of thought that they would go QB or Neighbors, basically. What would the Giants have gotten for the 6th overall pick? I can tell you this. I did look at trade value charts. When I saw that, I was kind of curious what the trade value was. We would have given up a 3rd-round pick. I said we would have gotten a 3rd-round pick, basically, to move down 2 spots, according to the trade value chart. Obviously, people overpay for big deals like that, so maybe we would have gotten a 2nd-round pick. Maybe we would have gotten potentially next year's 1st or something like that. But it's intriguing because it's kind of like, did the Giants not like a Dunze? Because that's who you got to think would be available at 8 in that scenario. And if that's the case, is a Dunze and a 2nd-round pick better than Neighbors? And that all depends on what you think of those 2 players, because they're both top-notch talents. I got to wonder, did the Giants just not want a Dunze? Or did they think he wouldn't fit their scheme? Because, I mean, he's that big, throw up the ball kind of receiver at that point. We saw what happened with Kenny Golladay. That didn't really work out. Was that Kenny Golladay not working out overall, or Kenny Golladay just being damaged goods? Probably a combination of both, to be honest.
It's a column A, column B.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, just brings up a ton of questions. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the show. Again, Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time is when they're going to go ahead and have the first episode. Next week, Rob and I will be talking about on a Wednesday night episodes, all the stuff that went down during the show. So keep an eye out for that as well.
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.